Alrighty, hey there everyone. We're back yet again with some more Minecraft for tonight. Last time we dug out more of our terrain, made some terraces, and we got a little bit of flat grass to work with. So yeah, you can see it all in the back there. We also made a little waterfall flowing down into a pond, flattened out a good bit of land, and now we've got more land we could work with. Also got a hold of some extra netherite as well, which I need to go fix up my tools first before I do anything with it, but it is all there. Currently on day 357, and plan for today really is just building out some farms. We got our terraforming basically done as far as I'm concerned, so we really just need to start laying the groundwork for what we want to farm, which is a great question to ask because I actually don't know what I want to farm. I don't know if I want to delve into actually building real farms yet or not, like actual redstone mechanical ones, or if I am finally ready to just, build more normal farms for now. Because we could farm cacti, two tall flowers, wheat, carrot, potatoes, sweet berries, sea pickle, moss farm, that would be nice. Kelp farm, lava farm. I kind of want all that area down there to be more like pretty farms, so not necessarily gonna go crazy with like a moss farm or anything, but that could still be cool. Um, yeah, I think that's what I'm feeling. We'll maybe grow some various crops, I guess, bits and pieces, or maybe we'll move some extra animals down there a little bit closer. Maybe we'll just leave it alone for now. We don't have to necessarily farm anything there right this second, so we will want to at some point though. With that being said, I might want to grab enough for an iron farm too at some point because I do need to start collecting the materials for those. So maybe I should go ahead and pull up a tutorial here to actually get that going for once. Let's see if we can go ahead and get that good old iron farm all pulled up here. I think Logical Geek Boy's iron farm, once I've actually settled down and have made like a proper base area, because his tends to look a little bit nicer. Um, and I mean, it should make a good bit of iron as well, especially since I'll have four of them. That's really the big thing we got to remember is that we're gonna have four iron farms at some point. We need to keep that in mind. And we probably need to move the beacon beam somewhere else at some point too. That's a whole nother issue in and of itself. But we need more beacons too down the line. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can go ahead and just grind for Logical Geek Boys farm here as well. And he's got a good bit of stuff here. Alright, so we want 4 times the quantities here, which we can definitely pull off. So I guess we'll go ahead and start just building out some iron farms, I guess, finally. Why not? If we can at least get the structure of them done today, I would be pretty happy. Moving stuff is going to be the hard part, just because of the sheer amount of things that we need to move and have to pull that off. So that's not easy on its own. Let's go ahead and just keep it simple for now. Looking for a redstone box. Yeah, there it is. Alright. Sticky piston, we need 8 of them. Which means we're going to convert the rest of these regular ones into sticky pistons. Like so. Still got plenty of slime from some of the other stuff we've done in the past. So, that'll get us our sticky pistons. We'll throw those in there. Let's see here. Lava bucket, we'll need 8 of those. That's going to take a decent little bit of iron. And some water buckets as well. There we go. We'll do that. And then we just really need water buckets for making like water streams, so we can, have an infinite water source somewhere, and then we'll pretty much be fine. Let's see here. 4 chests. Now, this is also interesting because I also should consider actually having centralized storage for this kind of stuff, which I'm not quite there yet, but I will be at some point. I should have a bunch of leftover buttons. Yep, I sure do. All right, let's see here. Button. You need 8 buttons. I'm going for exact numbers here as well, just to try and keep things a little bit more simple here. Naturally, I just put the buttons away that I just counted out. As of course I did. 8 buttons, 4 levers. We have levers, sticky piston, our bucket, and then walls, chests, beds are going to be a big one, and hoppers as well. Now, luckily, we're still pretty loaded on wood here, so we should be able to handle both of those pretty well. We're going to need 24 hoppers just to get started here. Go ahead and make 24 hoppers. There we go. We condense our iron because we want to make sure we're keeping that all nice and tidy. And let's see here. Some signs. We're going to need 28 signs. Yeah, that'll make 27. So yeah, we'll need like 1 more there. There we go. All right, and then materials for beds as well. That'll be another one. So we'll have to make sure that we grab our wool here from our animal products. We need 24 beds. Yes, we need 24 freaking beds. Quite a lot there. There's our wool. Perfect. I don't quite want to make just like a box of beds, so instead we're just going to place a bunch of wool in there like so. Keep things nice and simple. So we've got our signs, hoppers, our beds, our chest, our water buckets, our buttons, lava bucket, inevitably, sticky pistons, lever. So we need walls, solid blocks, and glass blocks. And with that, we should have everything that we need to build 4 iron farms. We also need, let's see here, 8 stacks of glass. But we don't have 8 stacks of glass, which is a bit more of an issue. Ooh, that is also another valid question too. What do we want to build the farm out of for our solid block choice? Because we have not actually decided that yet. And I feel like we ought to before we actually grab stuff, so we will definitely have to take a peek at that. We're going to put down 8 there for our lava bucket, our wall, button, and then we want a little bit more. Want 12 water buckets. There we go. And then chest, 16 of those there. And then our beds, which again, we know our beds are there, so that should be fine. Hoppers, yep, there we go. Our signs. And then we just need solid blocks and glass blocks for the rest of it. So we can have our glass all the way up at the top, and then just 4 stacks of solid blocks would cover us. So yeah, same deal. What do we want to make it out of? Polished andesite could look kind of nice. But we also need to keep in mind too, I guess, the context that we're building this in, right? So remember, the iron farm is going to be backdropped, not against the cobblestone, but against the calcite there. So if we want something up against that white, do we want something to contrast it, or do we want to try and use calcite to blend it in a little bit more? So we do have some choices there. Or do we want to have something like deep slate that we not only have a lot of, but would also make like a very nice contrast with it, especially because we'll need to build like a shell around it. And yeah, I think I'm feeling deep slate. I think I'm feeling deep slate. I think we'll do polished deep slate as well. We'll bring 8 stacks worth. The reason I'm bringing 8 is because we're gonna need it later. But yeah, we'll use polished like so. I think it would be a nice contrast against everything else we got going on, so that's why I'm willing to bring that. And we need glass. So we're gonna pop over to the trading hall, go fix up our tools by doing some trading as well. And just go get some glass. Should also keep our elytra on here for a little bit. Just that way we can glide on down safely. We'll take a small little reserve of iron with us for trading purposes. There we go. Quick little pop down, and we're going to hit F3B to show our hitboxes here. And you can see we're pretty well safe here. Everything's pretty well lit up. We shouldn't have anything to really worry about anymore. We will maybe do a little bit of lighting, of course, just as we've passed through. Especially because you can see we did actually miss a non-negligible chunk here. I know why we now have missed a chunk. And we seem to have missed another little bit here too, so. But otherwise, again, we look like we're pretty safe. We would be able to see anything by now, by the way, if there was anything, because you could see their hitboxes, so we would know if there was something, but there's, well, nothing. So that makes it pretty easy. Oh, right, what am I doing? Doy. We're gonna go ahead and head on out straight through here, head on out to our trading hall. And the reason I haven't slept yet is because I'm kind of just waiting to pop over there first. Just so that way, I can actually go jumpstart the iron farm, and then while we're doing our villager work here, we can get a little bit extra iron. I'm also going to take some time to just light up a couple of things here and there as we go along. There we go. Especially up in here, because this is caused me a minor issue yesterday that I really was not a fan of at all, and it was completely preventable. And again, things happen, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just things happen. So, of course, we can take steps to prevent it in the future, but at least it didn't actually permanently fuck up anything, so. There we go. We got a good bit of extra lighting now. It should help keep things safe and clean here. Probably do a little bit more over there, but otherwise we can sleep like right in the middle of a field and Really don't have to worry about anything pathfinding to us, so pretty good. But yep, all we're gonna go ahead and do is put away some of the stuff that we've gone ahead and collected. String included. And we're just gonna go ahead, pop on into the trading hall and load up on glass. Sure to have some amount of surplus. Yeah, we got a decent little chunk to help get us jump started again. That's what we're aiming to fill up there. And there we go. Alright, so we got another 4 stacks worth to try and go ahead and collect. Means we will go ahead and get that out. Hold that in our offhand, and just go ahead and trade out some iron for some emeralds here. And you know, we'll try and get our tools all fixed up here nice and pretty too, so that way we can work with netherite at some point here. Because we do have a little bit that needs to be upgraded still, so it's just I can't quite upgrade these pickaxes until they're fully, you know, at full durability here, so that's what I've gone ahead and gotten ready for. And now we just buy. We'll buy out their glass supply with whatever emeralds we have for right now. Because we are like in pretty desperate need of a lot of glass here. And we'll leave the surplus iron here as well, so... like so. We got a nice chunk of surplus glass. And not to mention all the stuff we have back at our base too. So with this shulker box here, we can build 4 iron farms. All in one go, which hey, that's pretty nice. So with that being said, we're going to need to do some marking to figure out where we are going to build this farm and how far away it needs to be built from structures and things of that nature. So we do have quite a lot of planning that needs to be done. So we're going to pop back to our base and go grab some scaffolding as well, because we need the scaffolding for just basic planning. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get some of that, and then we'll get some simple building blocks that we can use as markers for measuring distance, so we can get that done too. And we're dealing with very geometric shapes here with our circular base, so we want to be very deliberate with how we're building stuff and make sure that it fits a very nice, organized pattern. You know, that's kind of the deal there. Additionally, too, this should be built in a way that should shore up the issue that we've had with, oh, what's the word? With this actual cylinder being too thin, you know? Or our main, like, calcite one that's up at the top being too thin, I should specify. So we'll get that one figured out. But first things first, though, why don't we go ahead and just grab a little bit of... what's the word? Netherite. There we go. We'll go ahead and grab our netherite ingots that we got from last time, and 2 upgrade templates as well. Can't forget those. And we'll just go ahead and upgrade our pickaxes here. So now we got 2 netherite pickaxes. So slowly but surely we are upgrading everything to be full netherite, which is always a nice thing to see. And real quick too, while I'm here, I ought to go get a thing of glass to install up on this part. I've been kind of mixed about it, and I haven't completely settled mentally on how I want to do certain things, but I think for right now, I would rather have like glass floors surrounding the pillars, because if there's any kind of major accident where I fall and for whatever reason my keyboard freezes or something, right? Because that has happened before. Then if I can't get my keyboard to unfreeze, I not only can't pause the game, I can't move, and then I die from fall damage because there's no water at the bottom to catch, because it's assumed that you will just not be bad and get into the thing here. But there will come a time when I will just be bad, and I won't be able to do anything about it with how this is currently laid out. So the idea here is I can just lay in a glass floor to catch myself on. Already a great start, because I've already fucked up the first one. That's alright, luckily. But I can just lay in a glass floor. Just going around and through here, and this will give me something to land on. In case I do basically slip and fall. I'd rather slip and fall down 50 blocks with feather falling protection 4 than 200 blocks. Because I think 200 blocks kills you, so... Because if we don't have this, we could quite literally fall from the very top there at like 269 all the way down to like negative 59. So we could fall like a fat 310 blocks in one sitting if we don't have this kind of safety railing here. So again, 50 blocks won't kill me, it'll hurt a little bit, won't kill me. 300 will definitely kill me. And since I don't use totems, I don't have the luxury of just being like, oh, I got a totem, I'm fine. Like, now I'm like, very explicitly, again, not using totems in this one because they did kind of throw off the balance of things pretty hard in the other long-term world that I had, and you just kind of, you know, there wasn't really, like, stake in it after enough time between, like, the not overwork per se, but, like, the over-ambitious builds that I tried to tackle. It just made things really unmanageable to get to after a certain point, and, you know, I started that one when I was, like, 17, I think. Maybe even 16. No, it would have been 17, because it was in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, so... You know, it's been around for a good while, almost coming up on 5 years here, this February in a couple months. That's pretty interesting. But I haven't done anything in it in probably about 2 years, so it's not really a 5-year-old world. And again, it's still there. I just consider it dead personally because I haven't done anything with it in so long, and I can go back to it if I want to, but I haven't had much incentive to, you know? I finished up one thing that I really wanted done, and then I was like, alright, well, I'm good. Goodbye. And then that's been it, so... And, you know, it happens. Nothing wrong with that. It's just how it is sometimes. But we've got another bit of glass flooring dug in here. Again, this should help us make sure that we have some amount of netting here. And this is also good, too, to know when our next floor is coming up as well, so that way we can pop on out and start doing our business. So, that being said, we have quite a lot of measuring here that needs doing. And I really need to get a good idea of not only the size of the farm, but also the direction of where and how I want to build things. So, remember, I've got a tunnel here that'll basically go straight through. And if I built a farm out on this axis, I want the spawning platforms to be facing away from like the central bit here that we're standing on. And that way they're facing outwards more. And the reason that's important to me as well is just so that way I don't have, you know, anything ugly I have to deal with or anything weird happening. I can just build it and then I'm good. And then that also makes my life a lot easier too when it comes to adding in certain decorations and just kind of adding in extra designs here and there. Because then I could probably bulk it up around the sides a little bit more instead of blocking off this middle bit. So there is a plan, or at least parts of a plan in place there, but again, you know, you're not going to really know until you just sit down and build it, right? That's all there is to it sometimes, is just sitting down and building it. So, that being said, though, we're going to go ahead and grab 3 stacks of scaffolding. Can't do this without our good old scaffolding here. And we're gonna go ahead and just measure some stuff out. So, if I wanted to build anywhere, I guess how far out would I need to build, and what would that actually look like? So I'm trying to think of, I guess, the dimensions of the farm in general here, which I think it's probably got like about a 15 block. No, it's got to be more than 15. It's got to be more like 20 something block wingspan. Hmm. I'd say 32 tops is what I would want to account for. So we got to keep that in mind. And then the actual depth of that is only like 6 blocks or something, I would say. So, now, additionally, too, I don't know how far some of these distances are because I may only be able to build um 2 farms in total instead of 4, depending on the actual size I have to work with without it like extending weirdly over the edges or anything like that. Also depends how strict or lenient I want to be with that too, so that's kind of a thing in and of itself. But that being said, we would want to bridge off it here, and then I guess just doing some basic counting. We're currently looking at our 24040 coordinate, and we're going to see how far this goes until the last moss here, which is 57. So we've got 17 blocks to work with, really more like 16 or 14, depending on how you want to look at certain things. But we could do a lot with that. Let's see how an iron golem spawns again, because there is a certain spawning radius that they have. Left within the last 20 minutes, no iron golem detected within the last 30 seconds, and an iron golem is detected when it is within 16 blocks of the villager. Which means horizontally they would have to have 16 blocks of distance between, say this is the edge of the closest spawning platform towards the inner side, and then this is the edge of the closest spawning platform towards this side. The distance between those 2 points would have to be minimum 16 blocks. Which, luckily for our cylinder as reference, we know this is 15 blocks in diameter. So literally, as long as our edges are like glass here, and then, you know, that there, and then glass there, then yeah, we could do that. So we do at least have a pretty solid frame of reference for where we would want this built at. But remember, those are just for the inner ones, or for the inner spawning platform, so... And the actual platforms themselves, too, if I'm not mistaken, are like 4x5. And then you would leave like 5 blocks of distance for the zombie. So say I did that. That would be my spawning platform for a golem. And then I would have to leave like 6 blocks of distance horizontally from like the edge of that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this is where like a zombie would go. And then 6 blocks out that way, you would have your other spawning platform. So it would very well would go over the sides of it pretty hard. So one zombie scaring 6 villagers at a time wouldn't work if I wanted like 4 whole farms like that. I would probably have to build it down to 2, which again, just to put it in a context, 2 farms here is like again, 7.5 stacks of iron per hour from each farm, which is 15 stacks of iron per hour all the time, forever. So within just 2 hours of just existing in my base, I would have a shulker box of iron, which I think would be pretty solid for really what I need to do and what I need it for. So I'm not really too worried about that. Again, I can't always crank up the rates or anything like that, but each one of these farms by Logical Geek Boy, they have 2 villager cells. That's why each farm will spawn 2 iron golems at a time. Whereas Ian Axofor's farm is designed where you're getting 1 golem at a time. So even just building his farm wouldn't necessarily do it. I would basically have to do Geek Boy's farm in such a way where at the edges here. Oh, and I was gonna say who says who says it can't be angled, but now it has to be a perfectly straight line across because of the actual like detection distance that they have. So that's a whole thing in and of itself. And technically, well, maybe I am reading it wrong because I feel like for the 16 blocks of the villager bit that's there, when it's within 16 blocks, are they talking about 8 blocks in one direction from the villager as a center, and then another 8 blocks in the other direction with the villager as a center? Is that the bit we're talking about? Or is it just straight up 16 blocks total in each direction? So it would basically be like 32 blocks in diameter. Hmm. Nah, his farm. Now his farm is definitely like the villagers are physically 16 blocks apart from each other. So yeah, it would be 16 in each direction. Which this circle, even then, it only goes up to like 47 blocks in diameter. So it wouldn't even physically have enough space, even if I went straight down the middle to do that, which is a bit annoying. And again, if I really don't want it to like overhang over the farm, then I don't get much choice there, unfortunately. So I would just have to build it in the center of like half of it basically, and then just stretch it across and then do the same thing on the other side. And then again, it's 7.5 stacks of iron um, per hour per farm. So 15 stacks is still more than plenty. And I guess if it really came down to it, I could always just build up higher because this thing is literally so tall. I could just build up a second one if I really needed to, but I highly doubt I'm going to need to go that far ever. So I think we should just kind of rein it in a little bit and just go for 2 farms instead of 4. We'll still get all the iron we need, and if it really comes down to it and we just desperately need more iron, then either we can AFK, or if we really need that much volume, like then and there, then yeah, we'll build like another farm somewhere else and we'll figure out how we can slot that in. Whether we slot that in down there and use a chunk loader, or if we just literally build a chunk loader at the villager farm, then we can have that toggled too, so we have backup plans for all that either way. So it hardly matters, but yeah, let's just go ahead and go up from our center point here and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we'll go 6 blocks here, be good. And then hopefully that's not going to interfere. I don't think it will. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on number 6, we're going to build a deep slate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And that is where we want to center everything. We'll build like 8 blocks up with our scaffolding. There we go. We'll build 8 blocks up with our scaffolding, and then we will just kind of watch the tutorial here a little bit to see how things need to be built. It's really just, it's pretty easy. It's really just building like the zombie portion on like our center block is what we may struggle with for a little bit here, but it shouldn't be anything that's like impossible. It's going to take some time to get used to. We're going to also just build one at a time here. And take a stack of glass. Right. And then we just want to bring our glass going all the way around. And then we'll try our best to mirror things on both sides. We'll do something like that for now. And then we want it sticking out as well. Like that. Not nice, don't do that. There we go, do a little something like that. Throw that there, there we go. And then we'll just stack some scaffolding going up. Here we go. Alright, and then we're gonna go ahead and get our water ready here, which we should also build a temporary water source out in here. Just so that way we've got some easy access to renewable water. That will make our lives a hell of a lot easier here. I don't want to grab it from the elevator because I feel like if I do, I'm going to fuck something up massively, so I would really prefer to not. go. Do a little something like that. We also forgot to grab like any amount of lava at all, but luckily we've got easy access to the nether, so that's really not too big an issue, luckily. There we go. And that gets that all fully set up as well for the zombie. Ah, that's nice. Well, apparently we have to get the zombies in first before we do a whole lot else, and that's awesome. And frankly, I don't really feel like doing a whole lot today, so we may come back to this a little later, another point in time. I can at least, I guess, just get some more torches here real quick and light some stuff up. I'll build some staircases going up to the hole, and then we can kind of go from there. But otherwise, I don't really want to do a whole lot of wrangling here today. There we go. Do a little something like that. That'll get us some temporary blocks. That way we can lure a zombie up here. And then, yeah, we would basically just try and lure it straight across. Have it chase us over here and see what it can do. And then we would catch it, name tag it, and then seal it off. So, nothing difficult. It's just I don't feel like really doing anything like that right now. I kind of don't really feel like playing right now either, too, just in general. So, we may just wrap up, like, I guess we can build everything else. Like, we'll build, like, the spawning pads at least, and then we'll basically just get it set up where all we really need to do next time is go catch, like, a zombie and do a couple of things like that. So it'll be easy stuff. But for the most part, we don't have anything that's so urgently needed that we can't just do it on Friday or Thursday night or whatever I decide to stream again here in the near future. So, but we'll see. There we go. Put a little something like that. That'll get that set up for us. So yeah, whenever we're ready, we can go ahead and bring one over. But now, and now we want to start working on the beds by the looks of it here. So a couple of things. We're going to go ahead and make way for said beds out of our inventory here. Let's go ahead and grab our handy dandy crafting table, pop that down there, and we'll just, we'll just toss some of that away real quick. Alright, we need 12 beds in total here. Which we will go ahead and tuck away in there like so. And we need our temporary blocks and some glass. And we'll go ahead and get those there. And then we want to go 5 blocks out on each side and get our bed set in. So from here we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on this side we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we would go ahead and place our beds down. I think it's something like this because it's like a fucked up kind of trident shape, basically. Yep, that's what we want to do. Do something simple like that, and then we would have our villagers get lured in over through here, which that's also another thing too. I would also have to get these villagers moved in, which that's going to be a fun time. But I'm sure it'll be okay. We don't need to get them today either, so. There's our 5, and then we'll do another. I do that. And that. There we go. And, you know, we'll like block these off as well since that's exclusively for the villagers. So we'd have to get the zombie in first and then seal him off once he's fully in place. And then we don't really need to bring the villagers in until after that's done. And they're easy enough to move around too, luckily. Let me rephrase that. Assumedly, if I have a happy ghast and I put enough of them in boats, I can leash them to the happy ghast and then fly them up here. And then I might be able to just straight up park the happy ghast, break a boat, and then drop 2 villagers at a time into their beds. And I should be able to like bootleg that together pretty well, I would say. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I think that would end up being a massive help bringing a happy gas, because then I can just airdrop him in here instead of having to bring him up the water vader that I have and having the ability to block them out and all that kind of stuff. Which, I mean, it wouldn't be impossible to, like, just take him on a boat from the nether portal straight into here, because it is all downhill, and then just drive them into a bubble vader, and then park them out. And I could, again, I can do it the old-fashioned way with a boat if I really need to. I would prefer not to, though, because that is a massive pain. Alright, and then off of one of those beds there, we want to start working our spawning platform. So, I feel like I want the spawning platform to go inwards, I would say. I don't really want it outwards, because then it will probably clip out, so I would much rather hop on over here and start it from one of these sides. That. I can't alt tab between anything. What the hell am I doing? Okay. Do a little something like that. And then that's where our spawning platform would go, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. That's what it looks like, so let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side here real quick. So again, we want to face inwards here off of our tower. Rather towards our tower. Do a little something like that. There we go. Oh, actually, it goes over the beds, apparently. That seems kind of mean. Yeah, it would go... It would have to be flipped around the other way, and it would go facing over the beds. So you'd have your 4 there. And then you would have 5 come out towards you on the beds. That's where the hoppers would go, and then that's where our collection system would go. So this would be our spawning platform. And then that's where they would flow out collection-wise. Which unfortunately means we've made yet another mistake here. So we have to undo the changes we just made. There we go. And then we just need to repeat that on multiple sides. Do something like that. There we go. And then let's go ahead and do that again on the other side. I'm real quiet. There's not a lot to say here, and I kind of forgotten how to count, so whoops. Alrighty, there we go. So that would complete all of our spawning pads. Alright, and then we want to start working on our chest and hoppers here. Grab another bit of scaffold. Got our chest, we got our hoppers. And we'll make sure to put some torches down as well. And let's go ahead and do that again. And we'll go ahead and make sure we get our torches down. Make sure we keep everything nice and lit up here. There we go. Alright, and then we would just literally want to go ahead and not do that first of all. We actually would want to go ahead and build up a 2-block high wall going around those chests. So from here we just build a 2-block high wall going all the way around. There we go, we do that. And then this is where we would start putting in our water and lava, and then that would basically finish it. So let's go ahead and get the glass wall all set up on the other side. And then we'll have to make a quick run to the nether to go ahead and get a hold of some lava and stuff. That's cool. And we'll go ahead and grab just a little bit more glass here as well. We just missed the beacon, which is actually perfect here. Whoops, it was a little bit too low. Alright, and then it's just mirrored on both sides, and then we're pretty much good, so yeah. It has already been an hour, surprisingly, which is kind of nuts. I thought this was going to be a little bit quicker, but we are building a pretty big batch of iron farms here, so hey, not too bad. I also want to go the extra mile and even make sure that the signs are all like synchronized as well with each other, or symmetrical rather. Gotta take that back. Alright, and then with that we can go ahead and get just a little bit of water here. Should be near our infinite water source. Do a little something like that. Alright, and then all we would do is just place in the lava up in there. Wait a minute. We're not actually quite done with that yet. I'm dumb. We actually did do it correctly. We're smart. It's okay. I could test it. Yeah. Okay. Nope. It's got nowhere to go. It would be fine. Right. Just a little slow apparently, but that's alright. And quite a long day at work today, so my bad. We'll go ahead and hop on up here and just go ahead and place in. Okay, come on. Go ahead and place in an extra little bit of scaffolding there, and then we're gonna go ahead and grab a few more buckets. There we go. That in there. Then we're just gonna pop on over to the nether real quick and go get a hold of 4 bits of lava. And then we should be done with the farm, except for moving in zombies and villagers, so yeah, that'll be pretty good. We can pop over to the trading hall and go get some name tags at least, so that way we've got them on deck and we're ready. But otherwise, the iron farm is done. So we'll also have to work out too how we're gonna move the items to a bit more of a central collection point, because I don't really want like super duper ugly lines everywhere, but depending on how I build the shell around the farm, I may be able to get away with doing things a little differently, so we'll see. Oh, went too far. Here it is. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, I guess, what I would even want to... Why? That was weird. Oh, you're here too. Bye. That was weird. I actually was not expecting that legitimately. That one kind of spooked me because I kind of zoned out there a little bit. But yeah, no, I don't know building wise what I would do to cover the iron farm. I'm thinking of putting like 2 semicircular towers going around it, and that should also encase like the tubing that goes around too. And I say the tubing, I mean the hopper line that we would have that would go around it. So I don't know what that'll look like, but... And even... Okay, weird. Even then, having an exposed farm doesn't necessarily look bad either, too. It looks a little goof because of the staircases for right now, but considering they'll be floating, they're not only not very visible. If we were to pop over to a bit more of a lookout point here that we could go settle on, which we should also build like a tower or something like in here so we can actually get a good look at our base. And we also need to crank our render distance back up just for a little bit here. There you go. Yeah, you can see it hardly even goes that far up compared to where it is, so we definitely should have enough space to build like a whole nother like set of them if we really want to. then that means it'd be next to my bedroom window, basically, and I kind of don't want that. So, yeah, we'll see about doing that, but that still looks pretty cool. Maybe we could, because they almost look like bonsai trees from this angle at this distance, where they've got like these tall like bushes, and then they've got like curved, like cool looking trunks. So maybe we could do something with that at some point with that idea, but I'm not too sure what that would really look like on that kind of scale. But just throwing ideas out there. Can't hurt to just think ahead a little bit. But again, if not, we can just keep it really simple and just build like two simple little structures like surrounding it. So that way it don't look so awkward. And then we will figure it out when we figure it out, frankly. There's nothing more to it. So let's go ahead and land on up top here. Like so. And that'll hold good. And there we go. They also shouldn't spawn on scaffolding too, but we haven't gotten that far yet to have to think about that, so that should be okay. And then otherwise, we really just need to bring the zombies in. We'll do that sometime in the near future, probably tomorrow or Friday. But we'll bring the zombie in, get him dropped off into there, and then we can start bringing in all of the villagers bit by bit until all these beds are filled, and then that would officially jumpstart the iron farm. So yeah. And then when it comes to actually, again, moving that iron, I don't know how that'll look, but we will figure that one out at some point. And technically, if we really wanted to, and this would be like a crazy person idea, basically, and would require some like pretty serious planning and being really careful, we could install. Okay, because these are me lines. Like I go up and down here and I bring mobs and shit up here with me. I don't want to muddle that with items as well. But if we really wanted to, we could have like bubble we could have bubble columns going all the way up and down, at least to our storage systems and all that kind of stuff. And then we could route the items in from there into it. But I don't quite feel as good about that though, because I feel like that'd be really weird. So we'll still need to come up with a way to either just bulk store items up in here, so we'll have to add like an auto crafting system where we funnel all of the iron into probably like a spot like above the door or something, where it would then get auto crafted and then dispensed into a double chest, and then we would bone meal all of the poppies as well, and then we would do the same on the other side, and then that way we'd have iron blocks and poppies in like a small little set of double chest, or iron blocks and bone blocks rather, and then that should get us enough. I mean, we could just pop the storage there, then yeah, that should be fine. So okay, yeah, we could do that. Well, either way, that is gonna do it for me for now. Next time what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go pop on over to the trading hall, go get some name tags. We'll knock out the lighting up here and see if we can get a hold of any zombies like up on this layer, because that'll make transporting them a lot easier. And then we'll get the zombies in place, and we will get these sticky piston bits in place as well too. So that's why we're gonna leave this here. But otherwise, we built 2 iron farms in about an hour and a half. So hey, that's pretty good. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see y'all again next time. Bye-bye.